It's definitely a historic day. This motion to vacate hasn't been used in about 100 years, so it's going to be an interesting day, and we'll see how things sort themselves out. It has the potential to resolve itself and us continue on the road we're on, or it has the potential to be a very chaotic day and next few days.
You've been known as an ally of Speaker McCarthy. Maybe you can correct me if that's not the way I should put it, even as a member of the Freedom Caucus. What will determine your decision here?
Well, I supported him for Speaker, but I also applauded the reforms that the Freedom Caucus were able to get, including the ability of one member to call a motion to vacate. That's being used, but I will say that the vast majority of the Freedom Caucus today have indicated that they are not going to vote to vacate the chair because it's a matter of timing. What we're in the middle of right now is the appropriations process. We have conservative appropriations bills moving through the floor. And do we want to interrupt that process right now to throw essentially the House into chaos, because there is no backup for Speaker, and right now we're trying to govern the way that we said we were going to. With all 12 appropriations bills coming to the floor, the Senate hasn't passed any, and we're demonstrating that Republicans can lead if given power in the House.
Did you receive assurances from the Speaker in the Republican caucus meeting this morning that gave you faith in him going forward?
Well, we don't talk about what was discussed in conference, but what we will say is that the vast majority of members, the vast majority of Freedom Caucus members, have also decided that when it's a matter of timing, when to call the motion to vacate, whether to call the motion to vacate now is not the optimal time, since we're in the middle of these appropriations bills trying to get the most conservative bills to the floor possible. If what we end up with are 5 moderates teaming up with Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries is urging to vacate the chair, you have the potential for not just the same situation or not just a chaotic situation, but a much worse situation than we have now.
Well, okay, so it's difficult to tell if Speaker McCarthy has the votes, Congressman, though. Does he have yours?
Well, I'm still considering, but I will say that as a matter of timing and as a member of the Appropriations Committee, my primary goal is putting these conservative appropriations bills on the floor and getting them through. You know, we had 3 of 4 bills passed last week. We secured our border with our Homeland Security bill, gave our troops pay raises with our defense bill, made sure that our veterans were taken care of. Unfortunately, our agriculture bill was defeated by, again, moderates who didn't like the cuts. We are really trying hard to cut spending to get rid of the woke and weaponized government in these appropriations bills. And you have to ask whether now is the time to interrupt that process with a motion to vacate and select a new speaker.
Well, without invading your conference meeting earlier, Congressman, what do you want to hear from Kevin McCarthy? Is it a pledge to bring these single-issue spending bills to the floor, to avoid another CR, or something altogether different?
Well, we did not want to shut down, but I am not a fan of the status quo. I'm not a fan of the current 45-day CR. I voted against it because I don't support the Pelosi spending that's going on right now, and I don't support the lack of a border solution. And so what we had before that, what I voted for, was a continuing resolution for 30 days that did include border security, that did include cuts to spending, and that was something that we could have demonstrated to the American people that we're moving in a different direction, that we're not just treading water. And that's why maintaining the status quo is not acceptable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm trying my best to understand you, and it sounds like we're making a little progress here, Congressman. If there was an assurance to have border security funding in either another CR or a piece of legislation that gets to the floor to help fund the government for a longer term, if you saw that coupled with spending cuts, you'd be behind Kevin McCarthy as Speaker.
Well, I think that was the first continuing resolution that Kevin supported. He put it out there. It was ultimately defeated, and we ended up with where we are, 45 days of the Pelosi spending levels put forward. My hope is that we would avoid that moving forward. the more that Kevin can reassure us that that is not what he is going to do, that he is going to push for border security, which he has, then that's going to definitely go a long way toward reassuring me that we're on the right track.
Okay, that's a start here at least. What happens in 45 days? We just talked about the framing of this continuing resolution. How are you looking at the next couple of weeks here, Congressman? Did we simply prolong a shutdown to the middle of November, or can progress be made?
Progress can and is being made. What we saw from the majority leader, Steve Scalise, was a calendar of how we're going to get the rest of these 12 appropriations bills through in October. And if that's interrupted by a motion to vacate that's successful, then that calendar goes out the window and we're not able to get it done, and then we're facing another shutdown. So my hope is that we can get these 12 bills through, that we have that motion to vacate as an option, but that we focus right now on these appropriations bills.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the issues, the potential problems illuminated by Matt Gaetz and some other Republicans, some members of your own Freedom Caucus, Congressman, has been the potential for Kevin McCarthy to cut a deal with Democrats. Some see this as an example of that with the continuing resolution. Is that your biggest worry now, that he turns away from you and toward Hakeem Jeffries?
Well, he has indicated he's not willing to make any deals with Hakeem Jeffries, and Hakeem Jeffries has indicated that he wants to take McCarthy out, that he wants to remove McCarthy as Speaker. So he's instructed all of his Democrats to vote for the motion to vacate. So if it's Matt Gaetz and all of the Democrats and one or two others, then that's where we're going to end up. But at this point, my focus and the Speaker's focus and the overwhelming majority of the conference's focus is on getting these conservative appropriations bills through, standing up to a Democrat Senate with their appropriations process. They haven't passed a single appropriations bill. And ultimately, standing up to Joe Biden and removing this woke and weaponized government from these appropriations bills that we're able to do through the House.
You're on the Committee on Appropriations. You're also on the Budget Committee, Congressman. We can talk Freedom Caucus all day long, but these are very important committees for the very issue that we're talking about when it comes to funding the government. What's the next step here? How do negotiations resume? Do you just continue with single-issue spending bills until all 12 are passed, wait for a conversation with the Senate, or is there something more aggressive that can be done here in 45 days?
Well, one of the things that this city understands is power and leverage. And when the House passes its appropriations bills and the Senate doesn't pass any and has to come to the table on how to address spending, we are at an advantage. So we want to use that advantage. We want to keep pressing on these appropriations bills. We can win on the policy and on the spending if we just press ahead. And that's what we're planning to do this October. And it is a question of whether now is the right time to interrupt this process with a motion to vacate.
Lastly, Congressman, we understand that the motion to table will be up soon. It is expected to fail. Will Kevin McCarthy be Speaker by the end of the week?
Well, that remains to be seen, but my hope is that we keep on our track. We've got 2 appropriations bills up this week, and if we can do those 2, that natural resources, energy and water, ledge branch, we've got a lot on our plate, and we need to keep our eye focused on delivering for the American people.